Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I am Master Key, and this is,
King Zo.
and we're here to talk about the importance of family.
Hi, family.
Hey, well, let's talk about it.
Well, with one on the way, we've had a lot of discoveries that we've come across. There's been a lot of self growing, a lot of self nurturing, a lot of together growing, a lot of together nurturing. Well, what's something that you learned about this family journey?
Learned that family is the most important foundation to sustaining not only a healthy life, but a purposeful life. What about you?
I've learned that family can be a backbone and be an inspiration for things that you didn't think that you would be able to do. Gives you that extra button for courage.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's a lot of times I found myself saying that I guess you procrastinate sometimes just because you don't want to, and sometimes it's just because it seems daunting and scary. And then when you find a reason to do something, it gives you a oomph that you didn't think you had to go and do it. So it takes away the need for, well, the want to procrastinate. It takes away the want to like wait for the tomorrows, and everything is immediate. Everything is now. What do you mean by yours?
Uh, what this process has taught me is that I have a lot more to give than I've been given. Every day, to have someone or a whole group of family depending on me, it pushes me to go harder too. It makes me be real honest with myself, and it helps me to grow in ways I never imagined. As a woman, um, it helps me to heal my past. It helps me to look forward to a great future that I imagined but didn't know that it was possible. So that's what it does for me.
How do you feel about finding out what your baby gonna be tomorrow?
I'm pretty excited about my assignment going forward, and I'm just excited to know what's next.
Hmm, it's cool.
What about you?
I feel like this is the most nervous I've ever been to meet somebody.
Why are you nervous?
Because you know how you always waited to meet somebody, and then they finally here. This is like the longest I've ever waited. Let alone like it's the most anticipation. Like all of it, like what they gonna look like, what it's gonna move like, who it's gonna laugh like. It's just the questions that come with the unforeseen spirit that's about to pop out.
Do you have a preference on what you want?
Nah, not really. I mean, I think both gender comes with its benefits and its I won't say stumbling blocks, but I mean the things that you have to hurdle um, with dealing with them, psyches, strengths. Then of course there's the individual person that you'll be dealing with. I think my biggest thing is like what am I going to pour into the child rather than what is it going to be. Whether it's a boy or a girl, of course I want to be an athlete. I wouldn't give a damn what it is. But at the same time, I would want the child to be smart. I would want them to be strong. I want them to be self-thinking. I would want those are all things that I would want. So it's just about me being able to pour that in. What
Okay.
about you?
I think I want whatever God has for me. I think it's kind of selfish to pick what you want when you don't know. I think that the most important thing is to prepare once I do know. I went back and forth. I just know the things that I will have to work on once I do find out tomorrow morning. And I'm excited about that.
But what do you think preparation differences would be as far as boy and a girl?
Well, for a girl, I think that's the one that I think will be the hardest because I'm a girl. I will have to nurture my inner child before my child gets here. And preparation would be just teaching a child or a little girl what it is to have a strong mind, teaching a little girl what it is to be self sufficient, but also being able to know how and what kind of help to get. Teaching, I mean, you'll have to teach a little boy that too, but it's a lot different. I think that the most important part is nurturing and making sure like my child has a childhood. She gets to play with baby dolls and she's able to just be. You have to give her self esteem. You have to give her attention. Um, and so that's a lot of inner work for me to do, and also give back to my child. For a little boy, I think it'll be fun. I'll be able to. I'll go play with my little girl too, but it's a different level of play. I can challenge my little boy up until a certain age. I can teach him how to respect women and men. I teach my little girl how to respect herself, respect men as well. But it's a little easier. I have like little brothers to relate to. I don't have. I have like a little sister, but I don't have no like little girls to give to. So either way, it's cool. Um, but I just understand the internal work I would have to do before my. I mean, I've been working on myself already, but I just know for a girl, there's so much more of me to be discovered and to pour into my child, and I can't cheat my child with that. So I have to work on me. What about you?
Well, I think that because the difference in vessels, like boys are sometimes a bit more mentally fragile than women are. It just that's just where I believe women are stronger than men are when it comes to mental parts. I think that it would be having a boy. You just come with a challenge of yes, they want to have a strong body, and a lot of times younger boys just be strong like daddy. But one of the things that I valued about my father is that he showed me his weaker parts so that I understood his strength. And of course, with the girl, I would want her to know what it is to be treated by a man. I take my little girl on dates and stuff like that, so she would understand like don't settle for anything in your life. Of course, with both of them, I would teach them not to settle, but like just the difference in that, teaching a young boy to value himself in ways that I didn't value myself coming along, but I saw where it held me back. But if I would have taught, if I would have learned those lessons, or someone would give me those lessons when I was younger, maybe I'd have been a step forward. But I mean, I know I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. But giving them those tools, so I mean, it's just different things to deal with, and I'm think it'd be a joy to go through the challenges of having to deal with a younger, like a girl, because I grew up with mostly boys, so like I don't know nothing about that either. But I mean, daddy got to do a bow tie. That's what it'd be. But I mean, if daddy could be a football game, that's cool too.
Uh, let's talk about. You was talking about pouring into a child earlier. We were when we grow up, we're raised a certain way. We're raised in certain environments where maybe they're productive and sometimes they're counterproductive. How do you choose what to take away from your structure and what to give to your child as far as structure is concerned um, with this process?
Well, structure is always a good thing, especially for a child. I mean, as far as what I was given as a child for structure, we were always, or I was always just I was given a lot of grace. Like that's one thing my dad always believed in, my mother always believed in is like love covers everything type of thing. I think it's a scripture in the Bible. But ain't no sparing no rod type of thing. But at the same time, you know, figuring out what what that child's strong points are, what that child needs assistance with, will dictate what structure needs to be given. Because I mean, you may have a child that wants to get in everything, so you might have to create parameters, or you might have one that likes to sit there, so you may need to put your foot on the back and kick his ass out the door. It just depends. Me, I was a bit more jump off of stuffy, so that needed help with sitting my ass still, and I had a lot of go in my blood, and I was a bit more rambunctious. I had my mouth was crazy, but I was always respectful. So it, it just depends on what you're dealing with. Of course, I would want for I would want to pour all the good that my parents put into me into my child. I would also want to teach them to be fearless, but have a healthy fear of what you're supposed to be. Like it's a fearless so that you can accomplish, but a fearful so that you can understand your boundaries, your limits. How about you?
Well, I want to pour into my child knowledge first off, so that they be able to sustain some form of wisdom, to be able to make decisions when we're not there. I want to pour into them a woman I never really knew, like within myself. I find every day I'm growing, like I said before, and I'm just excited to find out who Mama Key is, like in my interaction, in my day to day, in my sacrifices. I'm kind of selfish, or was kind of selfish before. I was extremely lazy. I had habits I didn't know that were counterproductive. So
What are some of the ones that you want to break, or
well,
that you be breaking by putting into your child?
so being lazy, leading by example, because it's different when nobody's watching. You could do whatever the hell you want to do, but like even me going to work is a lot different now, because it's like, how long do I want to be explaining to my child, if ever, that mommy had to go to work and she mad because, or she's upset because she had a long day. I want to teach my child to be, again, self-sufficient. I have to be the businesswoman that I know I am, so that I can, you know, be able to sustain and provide outside of a job structure. Um, that takes a certain amount of discipline and mental toughness, that I've yet to reach. I know it's within, but again, it's just like forcing me, the best parts of me, to come out. Not only just come out for a pop out appearance, but to it's just another lifestyle to live. I've been very, like, I've hustled. I've done a lot of things for myself, but I've never done the thing for like a team thing where people were depending on me. So I think that, like, that's what I want to pour into my child. Like, lead by example in all things. Would I want my child to do this? No. That's why I get up and go work out in the morning, not because I want to, but it's because I know somebody's not physically here, but they're watching me. They hear everything I do. I just got to be a better woman. So that's in all aspects. It's not limited to one thing. Um, let's talk about. Did you want to? You said something, but breaking generational curses or generational habits. Mm.
Well, a lot of them got broken before they were given to me. Um,
Mm.
that that did help with the man that I am today. So a lot of decisions that I made were against some of the things that I had actually learned. One of the ones I want to break is the fact that a valueless young man. Like that's one. If I do have a boy, I want him to know his value, and not like a value given to him by some girl or some job. Like you set your market price. If anything, I want him to be able to walk up and say like, this is exactly what I'm worth. And if you don't want to pay me that, I go get it on my own. Or even at the same, I set my own standard and I go and get it. And, with a young lady, I want him to understand like she can't set you for what you is. You set your market price there too. Like if that ain't what you want, you ain't gotta do it. You don't gotta be with her. You can. It's better to be alone sometimes than to go chase after certain things. Um, that's what I would know as far as the things that I would have to break. But I broke that for me so that I would hope that I could get that to my child. And positive relationship with money. That's another one that I had to learn on my own before. It ain't that they had a bad relationship with money. It's just that I think we have this relationship with money as especially black people that like as soon as we get it we gotta spend it. Like it's like it's a hot potato, it gotta go somewhere. Like to hold your money sometimes, and even to not just hold your money, like let your money sit and make its money. Or like be around people who know how to talk about money. But like be okay with living under your paycheck, stuff like that, and really indoctrinate those things into my kid. That way, when they get out there, they don't have to say a school had to teach me and all that stuff. Like they understood finances before they left the house. That's one of the things that I would like to break, like a true understanding of saving, stewardship, really. What's up? You already spoke on yours. You want?
Well, I would like to do the same thing financially. Just establish wealth, establish some form of ownership to pass down to my child. It's different. Like getting out of the mud, like it's a cool term, but it's not cool when you're actually having to get it out the mud. I
Yeah,
think,
three generations down the line, still getting it out the mud. That's
yeah,
crazy.
I think inheritance is important. More than anything, I think the most important thing that I need to break is like the cycle of mental abuse or physical abuse. That should not be passed to a child. There's a difference between the discipline and abuse. And that's a very important thing. Being able to talk to a child, being able to reason or not negotiate, but just have a discussion with the child without saying, "Oh, this is a child's place. This we're all human at the end of the day." Yeah, there is a hierarchy, but it doesn't come with physical.
Level of respect.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't come with the need for physical abuse. It doesn't come with the need for mental abuse. It doesn't come with any of that. You can just have a relationship, and so I want my children to always be able to come and talk to me. Um, you know, not having a source of a place to confide. I think that's very important. And that's like the bigger things right now that I plan on breaking as far as generation is concerned. Before we, well, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Nah.
Any last things you want to say?
Well, I hope whoever goes to this journey, especially as men, you take the time to be with your woman. I know a lot of times, like I think one of the biggest thoughts I had, or that, and it wasn't truly a worry, but like an issue in mind is that you gotta be more. But sometimes being yourself and being present as a man means a lot more than anything else. I think we haven't had a lot of the. I was scared to have kids, but I was always scared of a crazy baby mama. This shit. After looking at a lot of my homies' situations, it was just they was out. They were more focused on being out of the house and away from. And I think this is the time where you have to be a bit more cognizant of what you're building, because the this thing can only go as far as I nurture it. And like if you're gonna say that you're gonna lead a family, then leading a family will literally mean you gotta be there. You have to tend the actual plant that you're trying to get to grow. And like a minute where you're not tending it, something else is happening. And like something else is growing. And I found that as I tended this, and I was careful with what I put into it, careful with what I spoke over, careful with my time and how I spent it, and like the things that I did with myself, and even how I did with you. Like it's producing exactly what I want to come from it. So I say, man, if you gonna put a baby in her, and like even if that's not where you want to be there. Like just be there. Like help her through it, because if nothing else, you may not like me at the end of the day, but you'll respect me is my thought. So even if you're not going to be there, make sure that you're respected in the home, or respected by that child, or respected by that child's mother.
think that's a very good note to end on. Before we go, I do realize that a couple of people are commenting, so I would like to address them before we leave. Well, I guess I'll talk about the pregnancy just a little bit. My body is growing in ways I've never imagined. It's fun, it's cool, but you know, a lot of women like, oh, she's gonna take you through this and that during pregnancy. Honestly, all it takes is a little bit of awareness and a little bit of selflessness and understanding that y'all in this together. It's not about me, just because you're carrying a baby. It's a shared responsibility and a shared respect. And some days are harder than others, and I still have some days I haven't seen yet. But all in all, I do respect this man. I respect what he does for me. He makes my days easier, and it makes the pregnancy a lot easier. So I thank you for that, baby. I appreciate you. And I appreciate y'all for being on this journey with us. To everybody who said congratulations to us, thank you. We look forward to sharing the news with you.
Thank you. I work real hard.
Maybe on
I
this,
do a lot.
maybe on this next episode that we have. Um, yeah, guys, that's all we have. We love y'all,
I'm hungry.
and yeah, y'all have a good night. We'll be back sometime this week and next week to share the good news. We find out tomorrow morning, so stay tuned for the next episode of Let's Talk About It. And once we find out, we'll post the information if y'all want to be a part of this life.
Don't be all that gender
This
revealing
family,
stuff. We ain't
no
got time to
gender
be popping
reveal.
balloons and
We just gonna let
cutting
y'all
cakes.
know if you wanna be here.
Don't do it the
We
old
appreciate
fashioned way. Slap you in the face with it.
All right, guys, I'm gonna let y'all see my growth. It's my little baby bump so far.
Yeah, a little bumpy.
But yeah, y'all have a great night. We love y'all. Peace.